Hello and welcome. Today is the final day of School of Seduction. School's out for summer after this. Not really, because let's be real. You need to be inside Seductress, where we go even deeper into all of this content. I actually did a guest training in a good friend of mine's community today. And somebody was like, Lauren, what books do you recommend? And I have tons of book recommendations. I love to read. I'm a complete and utter nerd. And the reality is, there truly is no substitute for embodied practice. You can read anything and everything that you want and get shifts mentally, right? And that's great. But in order to solidify them, it has to be an embodied shift. And the only way that I have found to truly cultivate embodied shifts is to be inside of a community, to be really instructed through that, especially if you haven't done a program like Seductress before. And quite frankly, I would say most of you, if not all of you, have not, because there really aren't any other programs like Seductress out there. So today we're going to talk about bringing your Seductress into a relationship, into dating, and really just, living as a seductress in your life. So I'd love to hear from you, especially if you're watching the replay. Go on over into the Facebook group. What have you gotten so far this week? What's been the biggest shift for you? What's been the biggest aha? What's been the biggest point of transformation? Let me know in the comments, or again, if you're watching the replay inside the Facebook group. I think one thing that has to really be talked about and pointed out right now, and again, this came up from the guest training I did inside a different community, right? And for me, it's always it's just so fun to bring this content and this work to other people's communities. But it's always so enlightening to hear women who this is like their first exposure to it, and who maybe haven't been following me, their questions and their fears. And one fear that I think comes up again and again and again, it doesn't matter how long you've been following me, there's this fear that if you really own and embody your inner seductress, it will be unsafe, or you'll get all of this unwanted attention. And I think especially with this round of Seductress and with a lot of my content moving forward, and I've already been a stand for this, but I really want to spell this out. You embodying your sexual power in no way, shape, or form invites danger, violence, or unwanted anything. The idea that it does has been what the patriarchy has used as proof that you shouldn't do it. So what I mean by that is we very much live in a rape culture where violence against women is acted out regularly. And it very much runs on the narrative that the woman was asking for it, or what did she do that it sparked that to happen to her. But what you have to realize and remember is that the patriarchy oppressed and suppressed women and the feminine by cutting us off from our connection to our sexual power. And then to justify that, used any and all acts of violence and misogyny as excuses to why that has to be. And The only way to counteract that is to have more and more women with turned on pussies who feel fully sovereign in themselves, and for the tide to fully change by women standing for themselves, having clear and healthy boundaries, teaching the people in their lives what that looks like, teaching their children, teaching their parents, teaching their partners, and the ripple effect going that way. So I think it's also really important that we address, as we talk about really bringing your seductress into your relationship, that seduction coming from a disempowered woman is a form of manipulation. And oftentimes, when you've probably tried it in the past or wanted to be seductive or sexy or something, you've done it with this quid pro quo energy. I'm going to do this so that you will prove to me that I'm worthy, commit to me, make me feel safe, so that you will love me, so that you will stay, so that you won't stray. That's not seduction, that's manipulation. That's using sex for manipulation. Seduction, a seductress puts her pleasure first and foremost across the board, period. And she lives this sensually alive, this turned on life, and chooses when and who she wants to experience that with. So when it comes to bringing your seductress into a relationship, you also have to remember what seduction is. To me, it's this intersection of desire. So maybe you want sex or intimacy, sensuality, you're already in your body, you're already turned on. You know that your connection to pleasure comes back to you. Surrender, meaning you ask for sex or you make an invitation and you let go to it needing to be a certain way. And power, knowing that you are your own source of everything. Now, I think when we think about relationships and relationship dynamics, and we think about this concept of like being our own source, it can lead those of us who are overgivers, overfunctioners, helper healers. It can lead us to believe that we have to be everything for ourselves and need less, less, and everything for the other person. What it truly means is that your needs, wants, and desires are important, necessary, and you deserve to have them met. And if you ask for a need, want, or desire, and the other person cannot meet them or will not meet them, it doesn't mean anything about you. It doesn't mean anything about your worth. It doesn't mean anything about how lovable you are. It doesn't mean anything about the rightness of those desires. It just means that either that person doesn't want to meet your desire, want, or need for whatever reason, or actually can't. And again, I think for those of us who tend to show up and overfunction and overdeliver, we martyr, we self-sacrifice. This idea of being our own source gets very enmeshed with not having any needs and not having any emotional reactions to things. A seductress is her fully expressed self. She says no when she means no. She says yes when she means yes. She values, honors, and accepts all of her emotions. And so she's able to take a stand for her yeses and for her nos, for her needs, wants, and desires. And I think that this is, to me, the biggest difference between the seductress archetype and other like empowered female archetypes like queen or goddess, or I'm trying to think of some other ones that I see. Those are like the two that I tend to see the most, like goddess and queen. Maybe like healer, Yeah. The difference between seductress and queen, let's say, because that's like all the rage in the self-development world, is that a seductress fully owns her sexual power and is sovereign in and of herself. A queen, to me, is still really cut off from pussy. She's operating from, if we're like being nice, the heart up, okay? It's long been past time for us as women to fully inhabit our entire bodies. I actually was just asked on this training today if um, Seductress helps people with body image and losing weight. And it does. Seductress helps you with everything, making more money, feeling more confident at work, um, creating better, healthier relationships in all areas of your life, attracting in your partner, repairing the relationship that you're already in, increasing your body image, increasing your confidence, potentially even losing weight. Seductress doesn't set out to like be a money course or be a course about losing weight, but the degree to which we are disempowered in other areas of our lives, specifically with like success or profession, confidence, body image, is the degree to which we're still cut off from our sense of worth and power. And so I also find that a lot of women, not all, but the majority of women who are holding on to extra weight, you know, and you're working out, you're exercising, like you're doing these things, maybe you have some self-sabotaging behavior around your body, you're holding on to the extra weight as self-preservation and as a way to feel safe and not attract too much attention, either because you've experienced some kind of pain, wounding, or trauma that felt very invasive on your body, or just the cultural and societal narrative. So when you begin to rewire your system for safety, safety in your body, safety in your full expression, safety in your sexiness, you release excess weight because you no longer need to hold on to it out of self-preservation. And, you know, the truth is, I think most women have body image issues. And it can be easy to look at another woman and be like, oh my God, her body's so great, and not know what's going on in her head, because we live in a world that overly objectifies women and then slut shames us in the next breath. And it is near impossible to get through a couple decades and not have all of the images, the marketing, the photoshopped, the highly what do I want to say? Like women who have had a lot of plastic surgery and like that being seen as the beauty standard. It is hard to go through, like it's near impossible to go through a few decades of your life and not have that like seep in. And I think when it comes to our intimate relationships with a partner, our body image issues can really be heightened and highlighted because we want them to be that sense. We outsource our confidence and our body approval. And just like anything, we outsource our power, our worth, our confidence, our pleasure. The second we outsource it is the second we disempower ourselves. And a seductress is so deeply empowered because she has emotional mastery, as we've talked about, right? She meets her subconscious, her wounding, her identities with these powerful tools to alchemize them and integrate them. She lives from a space of pleasure and sensuality. She has a sense of safety in her body, and she feels sovereign in her sexuality and shows up in intimate relationships, bringing that sovereign sexuality, that sacredness within herself to the dynamic, and does it not from a form of manipulation or quid pro quo, but does it because of the love and reverence she has for herself. And, you know, I think that when it comes to learning how to ask for what you want in a relationship, the first thing that you need to do, the first exercise is writing out things that you want or need and then approving of them yourselves. So in Seductress, I teach a need-based form of communication, a needs-based form of communication. So oftentimes people will say things like, we never spend time together, right? So you go to your partner, we never spend time together. Okay, there's no clearly defined need. You might be like, well, duh, Lauren, they want to spend more time with the other person. But everybody is coming into relationships with their own trauma, with their own warped modeling from their parents, with their own conditioning, with their own heartache and baggage. And so if you bring the comment to a partner of like, oh, we never spend time together, and their core wounding is I'm not good or that I'm bad, they might see it through that lens and react. Versus if you go in and say, I love spending time with you, and I would really love it if we could cut out more time on a regular basis, maybe once a week, where we had uninterrupted connection time. It's a completely different way to communicate. But the precursor to that is women have to solidify within themselves that what you want, need, and desire is right. One of the biggest barriers to the communication methods that I teach is that we don't believe that we should have needs, wants, or desires, and we don't think that they're right. So a seductress is so fully grounded in the rightness of who she is, the rightness of her needs, wants, and desires, the rightness of her vision. You know, a seductress knows that it's the feminine and the feminine power and the feminine vision and desire that truly leads the relationship forward. We've all been fed this bold-faced lie that men lead the relationship. Men don't know what the fuck they're doing. Okay, if men were left to their own devices, has anybody dated a chronically single bachelor? His house is like a Spartan gymnasium, right? It's like mattress on the floor, unmatching cutlery, probably a broke ass futon. Men live in a world of outlines and women come in and color it. Now, I think for, again, a lot of us that tend to have a codependent tendency, overfunctioning tendency, we see that as like, ooh, we can come in and fix them and make ourselves indispensable. No, don't do that. I'm not advocating that. But I do think that we have to come into the reality that it's our feminine desire. It is the vision that we hold that actually inspires the masculine to show up. But it's only inspiring when we're coming from a place of true sovereign power within ourselves. And so this is why it is so important for you to be in Seductress, honestly. Like, again, I love doing free content. I love doing free trainings for you guys. Like I give so much content to you because I think that one, I appreciate you being part of the community, and not everybody's ready to do a deeper dive at once. And, everybody's on their own journey. And I'm going to take a stand for you. I believe in you. I trust you. You can trust your desire to be in Seductress. I know there's a lot of you that want to be in this program, and your fears and hesitations and stories are coming up. and you think, I'll do it next time, or I'll wait till there's something else, or whatever. And I think if this past 12 months has taught us nothing, it's taught us that, I feel like I have to sneeze, I'm not crying today. Well, not yet. It's taught us that life is way, way, way too fucking short to delay feeling good in your body. You have this one life, this one fucking body. Like, you as a woman were built to experience unending pleasure. Life is way too fucking short to live by the patriarchal rules and conditioning that tell you to be small, to fit in, to not be too much, to shrink down, to lose your voice. We've seen what thousands of years of that has gotten us. It's not pretty. And again, I think one of the biggest fears or hesitations or pieces of conditioning that comes up for a lot of women is like the fear of danger, the fear of not being safe, the fear of attention. And the only way we're actually going to change that is for you to be a seductress. Period. And so today's training, I think, is going to be a little bit shorter because you already know the power of this. That's why you're watching this call. You're like, okay, I want to get the information. I want to get the transformation. You're not going to get the full transformation from free content. You're going to get a transformation, I hope. You know, I have a lot of women that come to me and they're like, oh my God, I want to be magnetic and I want to feel sexy and I want to do all these things. But I can't sign up for whatever reason. And I get it, right? Again, there are times in your life where it's not right or whatever, and I'm not here to like shame or blame or make wrong. And I am here to be a stand for you, to be an empowered fucking yes for what you want, and trust that you can be supported in having it. We always want the evidence of the trust or the support or the transformation to show up first, and that's not how it works. Bet on yourself. I always tell my clients, and especially the women that sign up for Seductress, this is in the welcome video. It says, decide right now that this is the best investment you've ever made in yourself. Because when you do that, it frames the program and it frames the experience in a different way than if you come in with a yes, but then the fear that this is going to be bad or not what you want or it's not going to work for you. The reality is you're not that special, that it's just not going to work for you, that this works for hundreds of other women and it doesn't work for you. You're not that special. You're very uniquely special, and I want to get you to own your full fucking power in life. But that's the ego part of us that wants to stay separate and is like, well, it doesn't work for me because I'm so special. And the irony is, yes, you are really special, but you're special in your full expression. You're not special in these tested and proven practices and tools don't work for you. And I say that because I very much catch myself doing that too. I'll be like, oh, I want to do that, but I just don't think it'll work for me. And I'm like, Lord, you're not that fucking special. Like, you see all these other women, it works for them. And somehow, like, God has chosen you that, like, you're the one person this proven thing doesn't work for. Give me a fucking break, you know? I say that because I know it takes a lot of courage and boldness to say yes to yourself in this way. And I just want you to know that I must stand for that. I must stand for you saying yes to Seductress. I must stand for you claiming this power in yourself. So as we end today, I want you to go ahead and close your eyes, tune into pussy. Ask your inner seductress to come forward. And I want you to become one with her. Either have her come into your body and fill all of your cells, or step into her if she's outside of your body. And I want you to, with ever so slowly hip circles, allowing this turn on to flood your body, connect to a sense of safety, or tell yourself it is safe to be a seductress. It is safe. I am safe. And notice as you inhabit your seductress, what does she think? What does she want? And what does she need? All right, my loves. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end our call today. You know the vibes. You have the information to join Seductress. Early bird pricing ends on Monday. You want to get in here. We start April 5th. You get tons of incredible bonuses and content the moment you sign up. So don't wait. Have a wonderful day.